Hey, decision makers. Want to stay in the loop with exclusive content and the opportunity to be on the show? Text DECIDE to 218-432-9722 now, and let's get connected today.
Fear is like the inability to move. Uncertainty is like you're willing to move, but you're unsure of what step. If you never take this step, you're never gonna know. You gotta fail, and that's life. You gotta fail. I don't like to think back on like what if. You know what I mean? I like to be like, I did it and it worked out, or I did it and it didn't work out, but at least I know.
Welcome to the Just the Decision podcast, where we speak to our guests about the decisions they made in life, the good, the bad, the regrets, the decisions they're currently making, and the decisions they're gonna make for the future. Subscribe, like, comment on the video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And remember, we're available on all streaming platforms. Today, I have a guest I met 2 weeks ago.
It is about 2 weeks ago now.
And I had to connect with him and bring him on the show, Mr. Cade Padilla.
How y'all doing?
How's everything?
Good. Everything's good. Just living in the moment. That's how I like to live.
I love
living in the moment.
The way we start the show is 2 questions. Your favorite dish and from where?
Okay. Favorite dish. I gotta say, it's the fried zucchini from Maggiano's in Cherry Hill.
Fried zucchini?
Phenomenal.
Okay.
It's like a brick. It's beautiful. It's great stuff. They give you the sauce. Oh my goodness. One of the greatest things I've ever had in my life is that.
I think you're the first person to say a healthy vegetable. Everybody's using a hearty meal.
Right. Well, it's fried, but yeah, it's
okay.
It's so good.
Is it
good.
Breaded or anything, or is it just zucchini and sauce?
It's breaded almost like you would think it's a chicken tender, like a mozzarella stick. Yeah, you would think it's like a really big mozzarella stick. But no, it's just this huge brick of fried zucchini, and they give you this. I don't know what this sauce is. It's some secret sauce. I tried to ask for the recipe; they won't give it to me.
Wow!
But it is phenomenal. Every time I go there a lot. Well, a lot. I mean, every couple months, which is a lot to go to a nice restaurant like that. But I always get it. Always get it as my appetizer. It's phenomenal.
Nice. And then your second question: someone gives you a blank check. Whatever number you write on it is going to cash the next day. Your checkings, not your savings. What would be the first thing you would spend that amount on?
I would definitely say a 69 all-black Mustang Fastback. Dream car of mine. It's a need, actually. It's a need. Most people might think that's a want. It's a necessity in my life. At some point, I got to have it. That or a 458 Spider Ferrari. Phenomenal car. Love Ferraris.
Nice. What do you drive now?
I drive a Ford F-150 truck. Yeah.
Nice.
Not a truck guy. I've realized I used to have a Jeep Wrangler 2-door 2010.
Okay. My
uncle built it out. It was beautiful. Lifted 6 inches. It was a phenomenal car. But then I traded it in because I was doing a lot of mobile work.
Okay.
And I needed something to, pull a trailer, haul a lot of equipment. So I traded in my Jeep, even trade for this truck. And it's been great, but I've realized I'm not a truck guy. I'm more of a Mustang guy or a small, big tire vehicle guy, like a 2-door Jeep. So,
cool.
New car incoming.
What is it? Speak it into existence.
Yes.
We're going to go back to the early days of young Cade.
Yes.
How were you growing up?
Man, growing up. So I come from a huge music background. My family, my brother was a huge Latin rapper back in the day, signed to Sony Music. My grandfather was really big into Sinatra, did a lot of shows. So, I came out playing the little drum set at 3 years old. I was a crazy kid, crazy. Always singing, banging on stuff, making tunes. And that's kind of just really how I've lived my life ever since. Music's been a really big part. So yeah, everything I've done up to this point has always been musical related. Did theater a lot growing up. So yeah, always been a very big musical person.
Who got you into music? Was it your grandmom, grandpa, your dad, mom?
So it was originally my my grandfather. He got me into music. Me and him used to go to the studio together, do some covers. And that was pretty much all growing up. And then my mom, when I was 6 years old, signed me up for Broadway Pittman Theater, to do my first show, which was, I think it was the Little Red Riding Hood and then Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Okay.
And that was a large part of my life for a lot of years. And then fast forward a little later, I finally met my brother on my dad's side. Because when I was younger, my dad, like my actual dad, he left for a little bit.
Okay.
So I never knew about all this family I had.
Mm-hmm.
And then my older brother recently, he's been a really big inspiration into my music. Had me change my whole genre. I used to write like heartbreak ballads, like Lewis Capaldi or like Callum Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm doing like R&B, like Giveon or like some Frank Ocean type vibes now, and it's been really cool.
Nice.
So,
in the music, were you singing or were you playing instruments as well?
so I started off singing.
Okay.
And then I did piano lessons for 3 years, and then after that, I just kind of self-taught myself. So I write all my music on piano. Recently, I've been picking up the guitar.
Nice.
The guitar's been great. Something about an acoustic guitar is a beautiful thing. But yeah, I started out singing, did voice lessons for 8 years.
Wow.
And my voice teacher always told me that I was a natural. Like a lot of the basic things that they teach you to start off with, I didn't need to be taught because I just had it already.
Nice.
Not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been really cool. But now I'm working on the guitar, so that's been exciting. Doing a little more folky country stuff.
Cool. As a since you came from a family of music, a lot of people say that your family will force you to do something. Was it forced in the beginning, or is it something naturally that happened with that process?
Yeah, it was just natural. My
Okay.
family's always been super supportive of anything. They don't really force me to do anything other than college.
Mhm.
That was like, I personally didn't want to go to college.
Okay.
But they were like, yeah, you got to go to college. So I didn't argue there. But yeah, they've always been super supportive. Always put me into like everything they could put me in. I was in the Philadelphia Boys Choir for a little bit,
Wow.
which was a super cool experience. A lot of choirs they put me in. So yeah, they've always been super supportive and gone at my pace. They never tried to push me, which is really nice.
Nice. I don't know how to word this nicely. So like the theater kids, there's like the bias stigma of it. How was like being a theater kid as a I guess in elementary school, middle school?
Yeah. So everything that they say about theater kids is probably true. It's it's a crazy bunch. And I was never like your average theater kid. I was just kind of like your average Joe. And then
Mhm.
like I did theater.
Nice.
So it was definitely an interesting experience. When I was younger, I used to be real big diva back in elementary school. I used to be like the man. I used to have like, a different girlfriend every 2 weeks. Yeah, I used to have my posse that I'd walk around with, my crew on the recess playground. I was the man. But yeah, when I got into high school, that stuff just all became different. Everybody was still crazy, but I was more chill and mellow. So definitely a wild ride theater was.
Nice. Your background, what like are you your ethnicity?
So I'm Puerto Rican
Okay.
and Italian.
Wow.
The Italian side of my family is from Sicily and Puglia, Italy.
Okay.
And then the Puerto Rican side, I don't know much about that. I'm still learning every time that I go down to visit. A lot of my family that's on my dad's side, on the
Mhm.
Puerto Rican side, is all in Florida. So every time I go down to visit them, is when I learn a little bit more of like that culture and like that part of where I'm from and where my family's from.
Nice. So that's cool. So into high school, did is it music and acting, is it something you stuck with, or is it something that just
It actually ended in high school. High school is when I took my solo music career
okay?
pretty much full time. Started writing my own originals when I got into like freshman year. And I joined wrestling.
Okay.
Joined the wrestling team. I was pretty decent. I was never great, but I was always like that one guy that like if they needed a filler on varsity, I could do that.
Okay.
But yeah, I never really did theater until my senior year. The director, she was also my honors English teacher. Why they put me in honors English, I don't know. Because I'm like, oh boy, was I bad at English. Yeah, but she ended up getting me to quit the wrestling team my senior year and audition for Mamma Mia. And she ended up giving me the lead, which was awesome. And that was kind of like my last show to officially like officiate my retirement. Because I don't have the time to do theater like that anymore. People that do theater, they live it. They do it all year round. It's all they do. They don't have jobs. And I need money. I need income.
Yeah.
Like I like to travel. I like to do fun things. And when you're doing theater, you're tied down to that. And I just didn't want to be tied down like that no more.
Gotcha. So you picked up senior year, freshman, sophomore, and junior. Did you like go to shows or still like support it from not on stage?
Yeah. If I was, if someone invited me to a show or if I was just bored, not doing nothing, like I would go support friends and stuff.
Okay.
My freshman year, I actually started out at Gloucester County Institute of Technology in the drama program.
Okay.
I had auditioned to get in there. And then after 2 months, I was like, nah, this just isn't for me anymore. And then I came back, but I still like supported my classmates from there. I would go to their shows. So yeah, it still stayed a part of like something I did as like a hobby, just going to enjoy the art of it. But I kind of didn't come back to it until my senior year.
Okay. With theater at a young age, all those lines you get, what was like the feeling like of recalling like this is a lot or I enjoy this or how like what was your thought process on that?
Yeah, so whenever I got a script book, super stressed. I would look at it, I'd be like, I don't know how I'm gonna memorize these lines. And every time, even after years of doing it, it always was a very scary experience, but somehow you memorize it. I don't know really how it happens. I guess it's repetitiveness, but it gets a lot easier. And then you look back on it and you're like, why was I scared about that?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of credit to people that do theater, because especially if you got a lead role, like that stuff is difficult because you got a line on like every page, and sometimes these script books are like 100 pages.
Wow.
So you're memorizing all like essays worth of lines, and it's a lot, but it does come together. So.
Yeah, and don't get me started when they start doing dance moves and stuff.
Right,
and
then you gotta
doing
remember
the lines and the dances. My little brother, he's been acting for a long time, and just watching him, he's like timid at home, but then once he get on that stage, you're like, who's that little brother?
right.
But he loves it.
Yeah. It's definitely a fun time. It's just you get to let loose and just be putting on a character is a really cool experience.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah. So looking back at all the plays or could you say play or theater?
Plays, musicals, all of it. I did it all. Musicals are more like the musical stuff.
Okay. What was one of your favorite ones to do?
Man, I'd have to say Mamma Mia my senior year. That was a great time. The choreography, the show, the cast. The cast makes a big difference on how much you enjoy like doing theater. And the cast was great, super tight knit. And it was just fun. I ended up so Mamma Mia, you have the 3 dads.
Okay.
And I was one of the dads. I was Sam Carmichael, and my 2 best friends were the other 2 dads. So like that dynamic on the stage was just a super awesome experience. So I definitely have to say Mamma Mia.
So it like just flowed.
It flowed. It was just so natural. So natural.
Cool. So in high school, did you only do wrestling and theater, or like what did you do for like yourself, like socially?
I heavily involved in the choir.
Okay.
I did All South Choir. I was the 3rd best tenor in the state at that time. Yeah, I did that. I did a lot of like the music clubs. I did a cappella choir, super awesome experience in high school. A cappella choir was awesome. Basically any club that involved music, I was there.
Nice.
Tri-M, which is like the Music Honor Society, I was in there. I did do football my freshman year. I forgot to mention that. I did do football, but I was like 10th string bench. So I never got any playing time. So that died out pretty quickly. But yeah, I was always super busy in high school, to the point where one of my friends came up to me and he was like, listen, Cade, like if you need someone to like kind of like be your secretary and like do a schedule for you, like I would love to do that. And I was like, wow, like I feel official.
Yeah.
So I said, absolutely. And that was a big help my junior and senior year, having that done for me. So I was like always on time and on top of things.
Nice. Was it paid or
he did it for free. I was like, this is great. I don't got to pay for this. My schedule's together. Life is organized. It was awesome.
That's cool. Going back to, you said tenor, you were the 3rd best. What is a tenor for those people that are not musically inclined?
Right. So tenor is like the middle voice part of a choir. So you have soprano, which is the highest. Then you have alto, which is soprano and alto are usually female voices. And then you have tenor, which is like the higher male voice. And then bass, which is like the lower male voice. So I was like right in the middle of the choir. It's also the hardest voice part, in my opinion, to sing. So, and I was a tenor 1. So each voice part is split into like 2. Ones are the higher ones of the voice part, and 2s are the lower ones. So I was a tenor 1. So I was the highest a male could sing in the choir.
Wow.
So that's pretty nice.
You just stressed me out with all that, just the terminology. Like, where do I go? And how high do I go?
Right. It was nuts, because when you're looking at sheet music, there's 4 staffs there, but they're all split into 2 different sections. So sometimes I would like be reading the wrong line because it's so easy to get mixed up. So choir is definitely it's something complicated. It's not easy at all.
Yeah, wow. Growing up in a school, they would make us go to not make us, but we would it used to be at Rutgers Camden. Symphony of the something symphony. I forget what it was, but that was the first time I ever saw like a director,
Mhm.
and it's amazing watching him go like this and this part sings and that part sings and the masterpiece from just one person.
Yep.
Not saying it's simple, but just the way he, I guess, directed the choir
Yeah.
and brought it all together. You're like, wow.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest parts. I actually, when I went into college, I was a music vocal education major, which would have made me become a choir director
Okay.
for a high school. But then I was like, this ain't for me. It's cool. I can appreciate it from afar.
Yeah.
But the workload to be a music teacher is insane. Any music teacher, what they had to go through in school to get there is an insane workload that just not for me. So I ended up switching my major to music industry, music business focus, which has been a lot better for me.
Okay, cool. So it's gonna be a perfect transition. So in high school, I say people usually have three options after high school: military, college, or you go into the work field and work that 9 to 5. So you went to college?
Yeah, there was a hot minute I was gonna join the Army National Guard.
Okay.
But I didn't get medically cleared because at the time I was on like medicine for my like anxiety.
Mhm.
Which I didn't know was a problem, but apparently if you're on that, you have to be off of that for a year before you can even be eligible to
Wow.
join the Army. Because my plan was I was going to join the Army, go away for like I think it was like 6 weeks, and the way the National Guard works is you go away 1 weekend a month and
Mhm.
2 weeks out of the year
Okay.
for 6 years, a 6-year contract. And it's great because they pay for your schooling. You get paid monthly. It was a good gig,
Yeah.
but I didn't get approved, so I ended up just going straight into college at Rowan University.
Nice.
Yeah, and I honestly, I think that was better for me because I had a lot of cool experiences and I met a lot of cool people that I wouldn't have been able to meet if I went away.
Yeah.
So I think it worked out perfect.
I also got medically denied for a heart murmur, and it's my doctor says I'm fine, but I even tried this year at 33 because it's just a little itch on my shoulder to just do because I think 35 is the cap or whatever, and they said I still have that heart murmur, so it's something I'll never be able to do.
Man.
Yep. So picking colleges was Rowan convenient, or did you have other schools in mind when you were going through that college process?
Yeah, so Rowan was my last choice.
Okay.
I really wanted to go to Florida to Full Sail University.
Okay.
Because their program is like they don't do any of that gen ed stuff. They just do it's a 2-year program and you get your bachelor's degree and all they do is focus on what your major is. And that's what I liked about them. I applied there and got accepted. University of Tampa for political science. I had like a hot minute where I wanted to be like a politician.
Okay. You got the voice and demeanor for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. West Virginia University. I got
Okay.
accepted into there for business administration.
Nice. My little brother's there.
Yeah, awesome school. And
Mhm.
they had just built a brand new business building, which was super nice. Almost got real close to going.
Okay.
But I had ended up going to Rowan because I had met the choir director there
Mhm.
and fell in love with the choir program. And that was pretty much the deciding factor that made me go to Rowan. And they give me so many scholarships and grants that I get paid to go there every year.
Man.
So it worked out good. No debt, and I'm getting paid to go to college. So that's the only reason I'm going.
Yeah. What was his name? It's gonna come to me. When I went, there was a guy named Kunal Patel.
Okay.
I think he's a doctor now.
Yeah.
But he was an RA, was on scholarship, and was the he wasn't the SGA president. He was like the chief financial officer.
Yep.
So those were all paid gigs, and he was in your same boat where basically the school was paying him to be there. Now it's those little things that you learn afterwards. You're like, man, why didn't I know that?
Yeah.
And now here I am paying $100 a month. Thank you to the public service loan forgiveness, but of that 40,000, you're like, was it worth it? But the experiences was amazing.
Yeah, the music industry program now at Rowan is on the Billboard. They did an article on Billboard, and now they're the Billboard, one of the top music industry programs in the country.
Wow.
And one of the professors there, Steve Feinberg, he was actually the manager of the band Good Charlotte.
Okay. Wow.
So I've been getting real close with him, getting tight with his circles. He's a great person to know.
Yeah.
The contacts I've gotten from being at Rowan have been great. I got offered the opportunity to do a ASCAP workshop. So basically, you got put into 3 teams, and you had to make a song in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And whoever got first, second, and third won a cash prize. And my team ended up getting second, and I was the producer for the team.
Nice.
And I think it was like 7,500, 5,000, and then 3,000. So it was a good thing, and I would have never gotten that if I didn't get the email from the Rowan email for the music industry program, because they're always sending out opportunities and internships to like everywhere.
Wow.
So super awesome.
Cool. So you said freshman year you wanted to go the choir director route. What was the the deciding factor where it wasn't for you?
Just the time.
Mhm.
Like I had other things I wanted to do, like being a music vocal ed, because I went into Rowan as a music industry and then double majored music vocal education, which on your transcript comes up as 3 majors. So I was at the school all day, every day, Monday through Saturday, even Sunday, because I was in the a cappella choir.
Okay.
So I just had no time to work, no time to do my music, which is important to me, no time to do business things or just anything that I wanted to do. So I dropped all of that just so I could have more time to kind of build stuff for my future for when I graduate.
Gotcha. Choir director degree wasn't your niche, and then you transferred to what degree?
I just dropped that and then just did music industry full time and just kept that degree.
Okay. Is there like a focus with that degree, or is it broad and you learn everything about the music industry?
So it can be broad. You can learn all about music technology and music business, but I picked my focus to be all about the music business.
Okay.
Because I already know a lot about the technology just from one of my mentors growing up. He kind of taught me everything there is to know about that because he produced all my originals.
Mm-hmm.
So he walked me through all of it.
Okay. So when you say music business, could the business school learn the music business out of it, or how did they divide and conquer type of thing?
Yeah, so you have to take classes in the business hall and you learn basically the basic fundamentals of business, but you also learn about business that's specifically geared towards the music world, like touring and concert promotion and booking venues and booking bands and all those things, being an artist manager and owning a record label. Because I mean, business is, the basic business principles apply to all levels of business.
Yeah.
But music business is I always tell people it's a separate ball game.
Yeah.
It's not like owning a corner store, you know what I mean? Owning a record label is a lot different than that. Or having a contracting company. You know, if you lose a client, you can go to the next house and I'm sure there's somebody that needs work done on their house.
Yeah.
But with music, being a producer, you can't just go to the next door and expect to find someone that wants their music to be produced.
Yeah.
It's a lot more of not a niche market, but they're farther between each other clients-wise, finding clients.
Cool. So, I guess in that degree, what were you most passionate about with the music and business?
Owning a record label, learning all about that. That's kind of my goal for the future. That's like ultimate dream. I would love to own a record label, and change kind of the record scene. Because a lot of things with record labels is they own you. They take all your money. They take everything. Like I want to have a record label that's for the artist, not for the label.
Gotcha.
Not something that's focused on profit and all that stuff. Like, sure, money's important. I want to pay my bills, pay my employees, and have a little bit extra left over to take the family on vacation.
Yeah.
But I also want to create a label where the artist is first and foremost at all times.
Nice.
So trying to change the industry.
Yeah, I love that. I noticed in a lot of college classes, there's people that teach the class, but they sort of like entrepreneurship. Someone will teach entrepreneurship, but never started anything. But they're teaching the class. In the music classes, was there anyone that launched a music label?
Yeah, so Steve Feinberg, going back to that professor, actually has, I think he still has or had a record label with Steve Madden, the shoe designer.
Okay, wow.
So the one thing I love about the music industry program at Rowan is all the professors in that program are in the industry or have done something in the industry. Like we had one professor that worked for TikTok.
Okay.
We have one Professor Barbara Adams. She owns a huge live sound company. She's really, really good. So there's a lot of good contacts and good people that are actually in the industry and know what they're talking about. Because last semester, I took an entrepreneurship and innovation class, and the professor in there never owned a business. I'm like, well, what are you teaching me then?
Yeah.
If you've never, because it's different when you experience it. There's some things that a degree in school can't teach you. Sometimes you just have to go through owning a business and the trials and tribulations and things that happen that you would never think of.
Yeah.
That really teach you like real life and hands-on experience is what I love to learn from.
Yeah. It's sort of like I guess energy draining where you're just reading a book and then you're taking a test on multiple choice and you're like, did this amount of money I paid for this class help me for the future? Or it's sort of like critical thinking, like on hand learning, and you're like, it's sort of like a waste of time.
Right.
So when you said Full Sail only was your focus and it got things done and you learned what you had to learn, I love that type of education. Like learn and do. It's like vocational schools.
Yes.
So like how you said GCIT, you did your little math class and statistics or pre-algebra, but then you did your focus.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where most education should focus on.
Yes.
Not these, let's take money for gen eds. And you're like, well, I'm not taking Spanish.
Right. Like, why do I got to take more English class? Like, didn't I go through 4 years of high school to do English? Why do I got to do more like artistic literacy requirements? Like right now I'm taking a class to satisfy one of my artistic literacies, and it's the history and literature of Shakespeare. Now, I love Shakespeare. I'm all for him. But the class is at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And that's a lot of information for 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And the professor is great. But listen, I haven't been to the class in like 3 weeks. I'm a morning person, but I have a schedule in the morning. Like, I get up at 6 a.m. I go to the gym. I do things in the morning. At 8 a.m., class doesn't fit into my morning schedule.
Yeah.
I usually like class to start like 11 o'clock and later and then get done before like 4 o'clock because I don't like them late classes. I like to be in bed by 8 o'clock. I like my sleep. Sleep's important.
Okay.
So, finding a schedule that navigates all that is complicated, but I've managed pretty well the past couple of years.
Nice. I work nights, so I worked last night and I haven't been to bed yet. So I'm bad with time management and skills. But cool. So with the classes you're taking, is there any like on hand in the field homework, or right now it's just taking information and taking tests?
So I'm actually taking artist services, which Steve Feinberg, again, is the professor of that. And artist services basically is the student-run record label, Red Oak Records.
Okay.
And basically, it's a class where everybody's like in a department and you're basically running a record label.
Nice.
So it's like you have to go out, and I'm on the content creation department. So we have to go out and make content for the artists that we sign. Like it's run like a real record label.
Wow.
And it's funded by the university. It's really cool because you get to really understand what it's like to work for a record label and run a record label. And I'm in the Artist Services 1, but when I move over to Artist Services 3 next year, like I have the chance to become the general manager and oversee all the departments. And it's a super cool experience of just like learning that industry. And that's something that I really want to do. So it's best class. I'll never miss it. I don't care what I got going on. I'm always there. And it's awesome.
Cool. So with the grade, is it as a group you get the grade? Like if this person is a successful musician, or is it like you get graded on your part of the group?
You basically get graded on your part. Okay. So like if you're doing your job and you're doing it well and you're doing what is expected, you're gonna get a good grade.
Okay.
But if you go above and beyond, there's room for extra credit. And everything that I do, I like to go above and beyond.
Okay.
So yeah, always going above and beyond.
Cool. So are you still currently at Rome?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one more year. I graduate next year, 2026, spring of 2026.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
With the going into your senior year, what classes are you about to take, or what are you looking forward to?
So I did all my gen eds online through like an online program, so I don't have to do any of those. Next year I can do my capstone project, which is like the huge final project for the music industry program, and it takes the whole year, both semesters.
Okay.
And you basically get to do like something huge. Like you can do like a whole album and produce it, which is what a lot of people do. But this one girl, I think her name was Alyssa, she actually put on like a huge event as her capstone project and like organized it, booked it, and it was like a huge thing, and she like won awards for it. It was really awesome.
Wow.
So I want to kind of follow in that type of footsteps by doing something different, something that not everybody else is doing. Because it's kind of like your opportunity to kind of do something grand, and have an excuse to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing next year, and I think Artist Services 2 and 3 I'm doing next year, and I think that's pretty much it. I've done pretty much everything else I have to do. So next year is kind of more of like a chill year, and I get to focus on that capstone project.
Nice, cool. So it took you 4 years to graduate?
3. I skipped by doing all my gen eds online.
Okay.
I skipped the whole year.
Nice.
So,
That's
which is
congratulations.
Yes, awesome.
I love college so much. It took me 6.
I wanted to be in and out. I didn't want to spend more time than I had to there. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, future congratulations.
yes, thank you.
No problem. So what are you looking most forward after graduation?
Just running my business that I just recently opened up that we met at Cadence Creative Studios. Kind of building that, scaling that up. Hopefully expanding into like New York City, Boston, more like music capitals like Tennessee, Nashville. Kind of just building that for the next couple of years. I'm also involved in a ministry called Young Life, which is like a young kids ministry that like brings like middle school and high school aged kids to like know the Lord. So I plan on doing that, volunteering a lot with that. Those are kind of like the things that I'm really looking forward to doing after graduation.
Nice. So you said Cadence Creative Cadence?
Cadence Creative Studios.
Cool. So what made you want to start this project?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I had a thought because I'm always thinking.
Mhm.
And I was like, there's a lot of producers I know that want to produce, but they don't have the space to have their own equipment and host clients, or they don't have the money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I know that want to do podcasts, but they just don't know where to set it up. They just don't have the room. So I wanted to create a studio where like producers could rent out rooms to be able to like host their own clients, where people that wanted to do podcasts could come rent out a room and do their podcast, kind of like a creative workspace for everything, photo shoots, live events, podcasts, recording, kind of an all-purpose studio. So I worked on that logistically for like 2 years, putting like ideas and plans together, and it's changed a lot. I had partners that came and then left, and then by the time it came to do it, it was just me, which I think I liked it that way because it was kind of like my thing and my baby. I didn't have to share it with anybody.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting this place in Pittman, and we dumped a lot of money into it. We renovated it, and it night and day. I wish I took before pictures.
Okay.
I think I have some before pictures, but yeah, night and day. We did a lot, and we kind of created this space where people's creative arts can come to life, because that's what I love. I mean, I do the studio not mainly for the money. Like, the money's important. Money's always important. But I love giving people the space to be able to do what they want to do, to be able to have some creative things going on in their life. Like, I love seeing that. That's a really big passion of mine.
Nice. And just to confirm, it is a beautiful space. I was overexcited because I've been like you said, I think a lot and I have so many ideas. I just don't know where like to place my first foot. But watching it, I was like, oh, now you can see it's sometimes it's good to see the end, like see the end in mind, but physically. So seeing your space is like, oh man, it's exciting.
It was definitely a journey, because I had viewed that same space in Pittman over a year ago, but it just wasn't the right time. And then it came back to me. I had actually had a space pretty much locked in Westville.
Okay.
But the property owners there just took forever to get back to me. And then my brain started thinking about Pittman again. I don't know why, but it was close to the university in a nice music town, a good scene. And I went back there, ended up putting in an offer, and they accepted it. And it was a lot of fear. Like, even though I had the vision on how I wanted to design it, I really didn't believe in it happening until I saw it all. Because I have like my uncle, he does contracting. My dad, my stepdad, who's pretty much my dad, he owns his own contracting and construction company. So they did all the work for me, a lot of custom stuff. Like, my uncle was like a genius, never got a B in his life. So he could, whatever you ask him to do, he could do. So it was cool to like kind of see it happen. There was a lot of fear, but the way I like to live life is if you never take this step, you're never going to know. Sometimes you got to fail, and that's life. You got to fail. But if you never take the step, I don't like to think back on like, what if?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like to be like, I did it and it worked out, or I did it and it didn't work out, but at least I know. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I never like to have like an unknown. Like, I just like to act on it and do it.
Cool. So I guess you said with the fears, what were you most fearful of starting a new business and branching out and something on your own?
The expenses. A lot of money. You got to think like all the money it takes to get it started, the monthly rent. But like, rent's not the only expense. You have business insurance, you have internet, you have utilities, you have payroll. So it's just like that stuff adds up, and you're looking at it. It's like, I've never made that much money in a month in my life. And I
Yeah.
just need to cross my fingers and hope that I start making at least that much money a month. And then anything else is extra for myself to put gas in my car.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just the fear of like, like, is it gonna work out? That's always like the biggest thing. Like, is it gonna work out?
Yeah. So I know we're gonna get you a lot of business and clientele with this space, but someone that I guess has a small space of their own. When you started creating music and I guess being a creator, what were some of the first things you did when you were creating music and your songwriting?
Really taking the time to really listen and kind of learn from the people that were helping me out. Like really taking that second to just kind of like be like a sponge,
Mm.
soak up all the information I could. Like one of my biggest mentors, Stephen Childs, who I'm now a partner with in Musically Speaking, like he was a really big pivotal factor of this all being possible because he taught me everything I know. And everyone that has come into my life and taught me anything about music, like I always wanted to kind of soak up as much information as I could so that way I would learn from their mistakes and I would learn from my mistakes and just kind of taking all of that and incorporating that into how I would open up one of my own businesses one day.
Nice. Well, you did.
I did, right? I did. So
Cool. So now let's get to where do you find balance right now with starting a business, still being a creator with your own musician, and having some type of social life with family, friends, and loved ones?
right. The biggest thing is just sacrifice. Especially when you're first starting out like a business, they say it takes 15 years for things to actually be like, good.
Mhm.
I don't plan on taking that long. But sacrifice. My whole life I've been very much a yes man.
Okay.
My biggest enemy has been the word no. I never like saying no to people. I always like saying yes, 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 yes. But then you kind of put it out there that people can take advantage of you and walk all over you and take advantage of your kindness. Because I've always tried to be as nice of a person as I can.
Mhm.
But with opening up this business, I had to realize, like, I got to put boundaries. I got to say no. I have to sacrifice time with friends. I got to sacrifice relationships. Like I'm single right now, and I got to sacrifice going out and trying to find me a significant other. Especially for the first quarter of any opening up any business is always the hardest.
Yeah.
So it's just learning to be like, like, yes, my music career is important, but at least for the next couple months, I got to put that on hold. Like when you first open up any business, like for the first quarter, the first couple months, that has to be your sole focus.
Yeah.
So like Young Life, like I was telling you about that I'm involved in, like I just stepped down from that. I dropped a lot of my classes in school for this semester and switched them to like online so I could kind of be a little bit more flexible with my schedule.
Mhm.
Hanging out with friends, like I have a pretty decent group. I like to keep it small though. The smaller the circle, the better for me.
Yeah. The support you
Um,
had was amazing.
yeah, no, awesome. Yeah, those are my people, and I'm super blessed to have them. But like, they always love to do stuff every week, and it's just like, I'm exhausted. By the end of the week, I want to go home. I want to go to bed. And it's learning. The biggest thing is like taking care of yourself because you gotta be sharp. You gotta be on top of yourself. So really take into account like, things as simple as like water, being hydrated, because you can forget that. Eating, getting a good night's sleep, not partying and drinking because you can't afford to be hungover the next day. You got to be on top of it. So I'd say the biggest thing is sacrifice. And it doesn't always have to be like that. But when you're getting it started up and you're getting anything off the ground, you have to take a couple months where it's literally just you and the business. And I always tell people you have to be willing to be comfortable with it just being yourself and just being alone.
Mm.
Like you have to like look in the mirror and be like, if it's just me being alone by myself for a couple months, is that enough? And if it's not, then you can't handle it right now because that's the biggest mental thing. Because people can fall into like a deep depression not having like a social life, and that's rough. But like I said, it doesn't always have to be like that. But at least for the first couple months, it's got to be.
Yeah. So I know. Would you say you right now it's a process as a learn as you go, or you know what's gonna happen when you're starting this business?
I'd say it's definitely both. Like I've learned a lot from my mentors, people that like my stepdad, he owns a business. My Stephen Childs, he's owned Musically Speaking in Blackwood for 30 years. So I've learned a lot from his mistakes. But there's also just like things that have happened to me so far that like I would have never, thought of or I would have never, think that I'd be going through. So it's definitely like a learn as I go and taking the time to talk to those mentors and talk to those people that care to kind of learn from them and just kind of take each step, right? Because there's a difference between fear and uncertainty. Fear is like the inability to move. Uncertainty is like you're willing to move, but you're unsure of what step. So having those people around takes all the fear out, and I still have uncertainty, but I'm a little bit more confident with how I move with taking the information from them. And I still make a wrong step. I still might go the wrong direction, but it's, you learn and you grow and you eventually, you get it together.
Yeah, I love that. It's cool that you have a support system and you have you can say advisors
Yeah.
advising you. Was it just or is it difficult to ask for help? Because I know a lot of people in the beginning of a process, they're I guess afraid or timid to reach out and be like, "Hey, I need help," because they don't want to, I guess, be a bother or burden to other people with their ideas.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing for me. I've never liked asking people for help. I've always loved to give help and help
Mhm.
people, but I always felt like me asking for help, that was a burden. So one of the things I've had to learn in the past couple months is like, yeah, like I can't do it on my own. Like I need the help. My brother came on, my older brother, his name's Zach. He came on as like kind of like my co-CEO, I guess, manager to help me a lot. And there's a lot of things that he's thought of that I would have never thought of. And it's just like kind of a humbling experience figuring out that like, like, hey, like, yeah, maybe I could do this on my own, but it has so much more potential to be greater than anything I ever imagined
Mhm.
by allowing other people to help me.
Mhm.
So yeah, asking for help is always a good thing, and that's something I've been learning a lot of.
Nice. I'm sort of get into like a honesty hour. A lot of people say it's be careful when getting into business with family. So when you said brother, I'm like, that was a thing where it's like, how are you feeling right now with bringing on your brother to run the business?
Yeah, it can be tough. Like my stepdad, he's the one that kind of like really financed the majority of the project, so he
Okay.
definitely owns a equity stake. My brother owns equity stake, and then I own the majority. But doing it with family can be very rough.
Mm.
We've already had arguments. Like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's been all roses. It's not. But I think when you go into business with family, you have to understand that above all else, family is most important and the relationships that you have with your family. And just kind of realizing that like sometimes things are not worth the argument and not worth the battle.
Mm.
Um, and I'm the youngest one out of the three of us. So it's
Okay.
also just like understanding that I may not know it all.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they might be better. And it's just kind of humbling myself to like, even though I'm the CEO, the one in charge, it's humbling myself to understand that like, sometimes they got to make a decision that I wouldn't be able to make. So it's the way you approach it that makes all the difference, I
Mm.
think, when you go into business with your family. But never go into business with your friends. I
Okay.
did that once. Opened
Okay.
up a detailing business with a friend, and it ended poorly, and me and him aren't friends anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, never your friends, but with your family, I feel like it's different. It's possible because it's family. Blood is blood. You can never break that.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's all about the way you approach it and your perspective on it.
Yeah, it's funny that you said detailing. You started for it. Had one with my friend because I just like cleaning my car.
Mhm.
He was like, "Yo, you do a pretty good job. We should do a detailing business." Because I already bought the equipment for my car, so we did it. The one thing I didn't like, detailing is a fast business. So you
Mhm.
do one good car, then you get another, and it was overwhelming. And I was like, I'm unorganized. I got to go here after work, there after work. Then you're running into stuff you never dealt with, like gum
Mhm.
in the carpet or pet hair. Then you got
Oh,
to
pet hair's the worst.
then you gotta there's a tool called the lily brush,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, so then you're learning and you're having fun, but it got too like we did a pretty good job. So just driving here, driving there, it was overwhelming. But it was called in the cracks detailing
Nice.
because we get in all the cracks.
That's good. No, that's a
Yeah,
good
so
name.
it was cool, but it's just the time, the money, and then
Yeah.
it's a good business. It was fun at the time, but it's a lot of time to invest.
Yes. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. So with your business, what services do you offer specifically within if someone would came to you and said, I have a podcast, I want to record music?
Yeah, so we charge so we currently offer 5 scenes. We have a talk show room. We have what's called like the conference room, which is like a butcher block table with like a TV in the background. We have a coffee shop scene, which is that's something I really wanted for me because I plan to start my own podcast, and that's a scene I wanted.
Nice.
Then we have like a speakeasy, which is like a brick wall, kind of like industrial. And essentially for the session time, people would come to us and we charge $75 an hour for however long they want the session time to be. And then we also offer like to do the editing for all of that. And that's just a flat rate of $50 an hour. And then we also offer another service where we'll manage like your YouTube. We'll create it for you, manage it, post the videos, do the description. You send us the title. We'll manage your social medias. We try to make it so, especially with the podcasting, that people could literally just come, do their thing, and we do the rest. The recording is basically whatever engineer or producer that wants to use the room, they have their rate, but we only charge $30 an hour to rent the room. And then whatever their rate is what their rate is. So they can charge their clients $80 an hour. It doesn't matter to me. With all the scenes that we have that we built, we set it up to where like you could have photo shoots. I have someone interested in filming like music videos and headshots. We have green screens and the vine wall is my favorite. The little like the green vine wall. That's something I really, really wanted. Yeah, and we also can rent out we have this huge lobby space that we can rent out for like events. Like if somebody wanted to do like a workshop or yoga studio has been something that people have been interested in doing, or like band rehearsals. So we pretty much offer everything under the moon of all-purpose studios, and we kind of try to keep it as competitive pricing as possible. I like to stay at the low end, just because the average price is like $75 to $500 an hour, right? So I try to stay at the absolute bottom end because I want people to be able to afford it. Like I want them to be able to do their art. So yeah, it's pretty much everything that we offer.
Nice, and that's a lot. In terms of the business side, you said you have a team, or right now are you the only one doing the recording?
Yeah, right now I'm the only one doing I record the podcasts. We're just the regular artists. I edit it all. Right now it's just me. We have a content creation person. She's phenomenal. And then I have my older brother who's like kind of like the logistics guy. He thinks of ideas that I wouldn't think of. He books the people. Nice. But really it's just me, and that's all I need right now. But definitely I could see us in the near future needing to have, more editors for the video editing. We do have a team of engineers and in-house producers that we do offer, which is all going to be like on our website. And we try to offer, the way I built it was that each producer and engineer offers a different skill set. So one specializes in rock, one specializes in a cappella and big groups, one specializes in like, I'm the country folk guy. And then another one specializes in more like indie and indie pop and stuff like that. So I try to give people a wide variety that like we can accommodate anything.
Nice. Well, this sounds exciting.
No, it's very exciting.
I'm glad you're in the beginning phases, but I can't wait till everything is like a nonstop running machine.
Yes.
It's going to be exciting.
Yes.
I guess you're still learning about the business, but what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you first jumped into, hey, I want to start content creating business?
Yeah, one thing I never took into account was the filming the video and the audio separately. So I was under the impression when I first started this out that you could just connect things and sync them up, in real time, which is possible with the lavalier clip-on mics. But when I'm recording on Shure SM7Bs, it was like, oh, I got to sync that up. And at the time, I didn't know that there was like Premiere and all those things that will auto sync it. So I'm going there in iMovie and I'm just trying to line it up real good. And I didn't even know about the clap thing where people clap to sync it up. I didn't even know about that. And I wish I had known that, but now I do. But that's one of the big things that I wish I like really took into account was the fact of just like syncing up audio to video. That was one of the biggest things that I learned right off the bat.
What do you mean clap?
So people, news to me.
Okay.
But they're like, oh, you need me to clap to sync up the audio? And they were asking me this. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I had realized that when they clap, I guess that makes it easier to sync up the audio. So I still don't get it, but it's something that people do. So I've started doing that. I'm like, yeah, just give me a little clap so I can sync it up. And then it does help. I've noticed that it does sync up a little, because even when you're syncing it up, like by freehand, because at the time I still didn't know that there was the auto sync, you still might be a millisecond off. And most people might not notice it, but like I'm a perfectionist. It's a problem. And I notice it. But the clap does help, syncing up the clap. It's, some way, somehow, it makes it easier.
Cool. Second, when you're, this is going to be for you personally, when you're writing music, what thoughts go through your head when you're creating a song?
Anything.
Mm.
I try to write my music all. So you know how they tell you to journal, like when you're going through stuff to journal. Well, my music is my journal. Like if I'm going through something like loss or heartbreak's a big one. Been through way too much of it in my lifetime. I go into my music and I write. Sometimes I might go on YouTube and look for a YouTube beat. No shame in that. Sometimes you just need something different. Recently I've been doing the guitar, learning how to play that and just writing. The piano, basically whatever I'm feeling. But sometimes you need a different setting. Like I was in a writer's block for a year. I couldn't write a song. I went to Florida for 2 weeks, and that's when I discovered R&B and that I'm good at it and I'm good at writing it. So yeah, I kind of try to take what I've been through in my life and what other people have been through and things that other people have told me and make that into music. So my music is definitely like that's my diary of my
Nice.
life.
Cool. And I know you said you want to expand this business when it gets big to the different cities. Let's say you get a CEO and now you're the owner. What's something that you would do not in related to this business that's going to be full functioning?
Like something different, like
Yeah.
not music related.
Yeah. Let's say you have a business that's running, you're getting money coming in just because, whether you want it or not.
Yep.
What's something you would put your focus on?
Real estate.
Mm.
I would love to do some real estate, own some real estate, all that passive income. That's my goal. Like if you look at anybody that's rich, one of the things that all wealthy people have in common is they all have a real estate portfolio.
Mm.
So definitely once I start getting some money, getting duplexes, flipping houses, I think would be cool. I flipped one house when I was younger with my dad. The demolition is fun.
Mm.
That's fun. Taking a sledgehammer, just taking it out. It's like the rage rooms. But it's super cool. Yeah, I would love to do real estate.
Cool. To those future or incoming musicians, theater people, what's one, I guess, life tip you would give them?
Don't wait. A lot of people wait for the perfect moment, for the perfect time. And if you're sitting there waiting for the perfect time, you're going to be waiting your whole life. There's never going to be the right time. There's never going to be the perfect moment where the stars align. That doesn't exist. Sometimes you have to take that leap of faith. You just got to start. If you have a passion for it and you have a love for it, you get one life. Just do it. And if you fail, at least you can say that you tried. So I would definitely say just don't wait for the perfect moment. The best time is now, right now, the moment. So I would definitely say whatever anybody wants to do, any musician, if you want to write a song, go out and do it. If you want to travel to Europe, go out and do it. If you want to open up that business, go out and do it. Try. And if you fail, at least you know.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for coming out and sharing us with the journey with schooling, starting a business, and watching this thing go into a season of prosper and flourish.
Yes.
How can people contact you if they want to get connected with you?
Yeah, so my handle is Cade Padilla. That's CadePadilla. You can find me on Google, and my number is 856-628-2461. That's my business number. If you look me up, you'll find all the socials. You'll find cadencecreative.nj is the Instagram, Facebook. It's the same for everything. So yeah, if you're ever interested in anything, you just look me up or you call my number, and I'm always gonna answer. Always.
Cool. Well, again, I appreciate you. Decision makers, we'll see you on the next one.